Paddy Pimblett recently shared his live reaction to Alex Pereira's stunning knockout victory over Magomed Ankalaev, a result that once again sent shockwaves through the UFC world. The English fan favorite didn't hold back his thoughts, praising Pereira's performance and emphasizing how much more exciting the UFC is with the Brazilian powerhouse as champion. As the fight concluded, Paddy was visibly stunned by how quickly Pereira ended it. "It's over already? Wow, that was fast," he exclaimed during his reaction video. Like many viewers, he expected Ankalaev to recover or attempt a takedown. "I thought he was going to shoot for a single leg and wrestle up," Paddy explained, "but he just never moved. Those elbows from Pereira were beautiful." The Scouser admitted that the finish caught him off guard because the fight looked competitive in its opening moments before Pereira's devastating power turned the tide in an instant. Pimblett went on to express that Alex Pereira as champion is a huge win for the UFC. "He's better for the sport," Paddy said. "There's no question more people are interested and want to watch him fight than Ankalaev. He brings star power and excitement every time he steps into the octagon." Pereira's combination of charisma, knockout power, and willingness to fight often has made him one of the most captivating figures in modern MMA. Paddy acknowledged that while Ankalaev is a skilled and technical fighter, Pereira's ability to finish fights and draw crowds makes him the kind of champion that elevates the UFC's entertainment value. The discussion then shifted toward what could come next for Pereira. Paddy speculated on the possibility of the Brazilian moving up to heavyweight to challenge for a second world title. "It'd be sick to see him go to heavyweight and try to become a double champ," he said enthusiastically. "But I think he'll defend his light heavyweight belt again first." Pimblett also mentioned the potential for a massive future matchup between Alex Pereira and Tom Aspinall, should both men continue their reigns. "You never know, lad. If Tom beats Ciryl Gane and Pereira defends his belt again, we could see Pereira move up and call Tom out," Paddy mused. The idea of a clash between two of the UFC's most skilled and explosive champions is something fans across the globe would love to see. However, Paddy was quick to point out that moving up to heavyweight would present new challenges for Pereira, particularly against grappling heavy fighters like Aspinall. "Aspinall's grappling would be the big difference in that fight," he said. "Pereira's striking is unbelievable, but against a guy like Tom, who's fast and can wrestle, that'd be tough." In summary, Paddy Pimblett's reaction encapsulated the excitement that Alex Pereira brings to the UFC. His knockout power, star presence, and championship mentality have revitalized interest in the light heavyweight division. As Pimblett noted, the UFC is better off with Pereira as champion, a statement few fans would argue against after witnessing yet another electrifying finish from Octagon. Rising UFC welterweight contender Ian Garry has once again stirred up attention in the MMA world with his fiery remarks about Belal Muhammad, calling the veteran fighter an idiot in a recent Instagram video. The comment came as the two prepared to face off at UFC Qatar on November 22, a highly anticipated clash that could determine the next title challenger in the welterweight division. In the video, Garry didn't mince words as he detailed the behind-the-scenes negotiations that led to this fight. According to the Irish striker, the UFC initially offered him a bout with Sean Brady, which he was quick to accept. "The UFC offered me Sean Brady, and I said yes," Garry revealed. "I told them, let's make it a #1 contender fight. Let's make it public because that's what I want." However, the promotion wasn't willing to label it as such. Instead of backing down, Garry shifted his focus toward a bigger target, Belal Muhammad. "They weren't willing to do that," he continued. "So I said, no problem. I want to fight Belal. And when I knock him out, there is no other option. My next fight is for a world title." Garry then turned his attention directly to Muhammad, referencing what he believes was a major tactical error in one of Belal's past performances. Belal Muhammad, when he was defending his world title in Montreal, Canada, thought that he could outbox a boxer, Garry said mockingly. "He was an idiot, and he was wrong." Garry's criticism refers to Belal's decision to engage in striking exchanges against a superior boxer, something the Irishman believes shows poor fight IQ. "I hope he thinks he can try that against me," Garry added. "It'll just make my life easier." The outspoken Irishman, known for his brash confidence and precise striking, has rapidly become one of the most polarizing figures in the welterweight division. His undefeated record and slick performances have earned him comparisons to Conor McGregor, though Gary insists he's carving his own legacy. With his matchup against Belal Muhammad now official, he's positioning himself for a title shot should he win convincingly. "When I knock him out, there's no other choice," Gary reiterated. The next fight is for the belt. Belal Muhammad, on the other hand, has been campaigning hard for a title shot himself after a string of impressive victories over top contenders. Known for his relentless pace, cardio, and tactical approach, Belal represents a major test for Gary, who has yet to face a grinder of Muhammad's caliber. Their upcoming clash is not only a battle of skill but also one of mentality and strategy, with Gary bringing youthful confidence and knockout power, while Muhammad counters with experience and durability. As UFC Qatar approaches, tensions between the two continue to escalate, with Gary's comments adding fuel to an already heated rivalry. The bout promises to deliver fireworks inside the Octagon and could very well determine the future landscape of the welterweight division. For Ian Gary, it's simple: defeat Belal Muhammad, silence the critics, and secure his long-awaited shot at UFC Gold. The highly anticipated UFC 321 pay-per-view event is set to take place on October 25 at the iconic Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. This stacked fight card promises an unforgettable night of action featuring some of the best talent in mixed martial arts, headlined by two world title bouts that could redefine their divisions. In the main event, reigning UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall will defend his title against former interim champion Ciryl Gane. This matchup brings together two of the most technically skilled and dynamic heavyweights in modern MMA. Aspinall's explosive speed, precise striking, and high fight IQ make him one of the most well-rounded champions in recent years, while Gane's elite footwork, tactical mastery, and fluid movement have made him a fan favorite and a constant threat in the division. The clash between Aspinall's raw power and Gane's technical brilliance is expected to deliver one of the most competitive and strategic heavyweight battles in recent memory. The co-main event features a historic showdown for the vacant UFC Women's Strawweight Championship as Brazil's Verna Jandiroba faces American submission specialist Mackenzie Dern. Both fighters are renowned for their world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu and grappling expertise, making this a contest likely to unfold on the ground. Jandiroba's relentless pressure and positional control will be tested against Dern's creativity and submission chains, promising fans a technical showcase that could end in a highlight reel submission. Beyond the title fights, UFC 321's main card is packed with crucial matchups that could shape future title pictures. Rising bantamweight contender Umar Nurmagomedov takes on the experienced Mario Bautista in a pivotal 135-pound bout. Nurmagomedov, known for his relentless pace and Dagestani wrestling, will look to continue his undefeated streak and move one step closer to a title shot. Bautista, on the other hand, aims to prove his veteran experience and striking versatility can overcome one of the sport's most promising prospects. In the heavyweight division, Alexander Volkov faces dangerous grappler Jailton Almeida in a classic striker versus grappler showdown. Volkov's sharp kickboxing and length will be tested against Almeida's elite ground control and submission threat. Meanwhile, in the light heavyweight division, Alexander Rakic squares off with Azamat Murzakanov in a crucial bout for divisional rankings. Both men are known for their knockout power and athleticism, ensuring a thrilling contest that could end in dramatic fashion. Also featured is a middleweight clash between Ikram Aliskerov and Park Jun-young, a matchup expected to deliver fireworks given both fighters' aggressive styles and finishing ability. The preliminary card is equally stacked, featuring emerging stars and fan favorites. Highlights include Abdul Karim Al-Selwadi vs Mateus Camilo in lightweight action, Hamdi Abdelwahab vs Chris Barnett in a heavyweight slugfest, Azat Maxim vs Mitch Raposo at flyweight, and Jacqueline Amorim vs Mizuki Inoue in a women's strawweight bout. With an earlier start time for international viewers, UFC 321 promises to be one of the most exciting and diverse cards of the year, blending elite championship matchups, rising contenders, and stylistic clashes that capture the essence of world-class mixed martial arts. Former two-division UFC champion Henry Cejudo recently made headlines with a bold claim about Merab Dvalishvili, stating that the relentless Georgian contender could potentially defeat Alexander Volkanovski if he ever decided to move up to the featherweight division. Cejudo, known for his deep understanding of the sport and technical analysis, believes Dvalishvili's unique fighting style and relentless pressure could pose serious problems for the long-reigning 145-pound king. In a recent discussion, Cejudo shared his thoughts on what's next for Dvalishvili, who currently sits among the elite in the bantamweight division. "I think what's next for Merab is the winner of Umar Nurmagomedov and Mario Bautista," Cejudo explained. "Because of that close fight he had with Umar before, it's well-deserved, especially if Umar gets through a tough guy like Bautista." Cejudo praised both fighters for their skill sets but made it clear that Dvalishvili has already proven himself as a top contender capable of handling anyone at 135 pounds. However, it was his next statement that truly caught fans' attention. "You know what? Call me crazy," Cejudo said, "but I really do think that if Merab moves up to 145 pounds, he could beat Alexander Volkanovski." He elaborated that Dvalishvili's non-stop pace, cardio, and wrestling-heavy style would translate well to featherweight. "If he's been able to do that to almost everybody at bantamweight, imagine him feeling even better in the upper division," Cejudo added. "He could bring a lot of problems to Volkanovski or anybody at 145 pounds. Cejudo's confidence in Dvalishvili isn't unfounded. Known as one of the most relentless fighters on the UFC roster, Merab holds the record for one of the highest takedown averages in bantamweight history. His high-volume wrestling and constant forward pressure have overwhelmed opponents such as Petr Yan and Jose Aldo. Cejudo believes those same attributes could neutralize Volkanovski's striking-heavy approach and tire him out over the course of 5 rounds. Volkanovski, however, has built his legacy on precisely the kind of traits that make Dvalishvili dangerous: endurance, adaptability, and tactical precision. The Australian champion's ability to mix striking and grappling seamlessly, along with his fight IQ, has allowed him to dominate the featherweight division for years. Still, Cejudo suggested that the size difference between the two wouldn't be a major issue. "Merab's strength and pace are unbelievable," he said. "He's not the biggest guy, but he doesn't slow down, and that's what makes him special." Cejudo also emphasized that if Dvalishvili clears out the remaining top contenders at bantamweight, particularly the winner of Nurmagomedov versus Bautista, then moving up would be the logical next step. "Once he's done proving himself at 135, I'd love to see him test himself at 145, he noted. That's where the true legacy fights happen. While many fans might see Cejudo's prediction as far-fetched, it reflects the growing respect Merab Dvalishvili has earned within the MMA community. His unmatched pace, durability, and grappling dominance make him a nightmare for most opponents. If he ever does move up to featherweight, a showdown with Alexander Volkanovski could become one of the most intriguing stylistic matchups in recent UFC history, a test of pressure versus precision, wrestling versus striking, and endurance versus championship experience. Former MMA prospect Raja Jackson, son of UFC legend Rampage Jackson, is now facing serious legal trouble as reports confirm he could face up to 4 years in prison following a violent altercation that left another man hospitalized. The incident, which took place last month, has resulted in 2 formal criminal charges being filed against him: felony battery causing serious bodily injury and misdemeanor battery. According to prosecutors, the charges stem from a disturbing incident in which Jackson allegedly assaulted professional wrestler Psycho Stu. Witnesses claim that Raja slammed Stu to the ground and proceeded to punch him repeatedly, continuing to strike even after Stu appeared to lose consciousness. Reports indicate that Jackson landed more than 20 punches during the attack, an act prosecutors have described as unprovoked and excessively violent. Authorities have also confirmed that they plan to seek a sentencing enhancement, citing the severity of the victim's injuries. This enhancement could significantly increase the punishment if Jackson is convicted. Stu's injuries were extensive. He was hospitalized with multiple broken teeth, a deep laceration to his head, and additional trauma to both the upper and lower jaws. His family later reported further damage, including a fractured maxillabone and a lacerated upper lip, which ultimately led to the loss of several teeth. Raja Jackson was arrested shortly after the incident and later released on $50,000 bond pending trial. Legal experts suggest that if convicted, Jackson could face up to 4 years in state prison for the felony charge, with an additional year for the misdemeanor. The potential sentence could become even harsher if the enhancement for causing great bodily injury is upheld in court. This development marks a major fall from grace for the young fighter, who had been attempting to carve out his own path in combat sports under the shadow of his famous father. Known for his athletic potential and early interest in MMA, Raja's career now hangs in uncertainty as he prepares to face the legal consequences of the alleged assault. Prosecutors have stated that they take cases of violent assault extremely seriously, especially those resulting in hospitalization and lasting physical trauma. The evidence shows a brutal and sustained attack, one official commented. The level of violence used and the extent of the victim's injuries warrant full prosecution. As of now, no official court date has been announced, but Jackson's legal team is expected to argue self-defense or diminished intent when proceedings begin. Meanwhile, the victim's family has reportedly expressed relief that charges have been filed, hoping that justice will be served after what they described as a traumatic and senseless act of violence. If convicted on all counts and with enhancements applied, Raja Jackson could face a sentence exceeding 4 years, marking a potentially devastating chapter in the young fighter's life and career.